I used to aim past the enemy. That's what confuses people when I tell the story. They ask, why would a gunner miss on purpose? They don't understand the noise, the heat, the look in a man's eyes before he disappears beneath your sights. War teaches you how to kill, but no one tells you what happens when you start learning how not to. The sky over Germany in '44 wasn't a color anymore. It was just smoke. Every morning, the sun climbed through a haze thick with oil and burnt rubber, and we climbed with it. 8 men inside a tin coffin they called a B-17 Flying Fortress. They said it was armor-plated hope, but hope rattles when the flak hits. I was 19, a waist gunner, just a kid with a machine gun and too much faith. We were supposed to be invincible. We wore flak vests that didn't fit and carried Lucky Charms in our boots. Mine was a dented coin from my brother, pressed so hard into my palm before I left that it left a mark for days. The first time I saw a German fighter up close, I wasn't brave. I froze. He came head on, yellow nose, black cross, and for a second I saw his face. Not his helmet, not his plane, his face. He couldn't have been older than me. The world between us was nothing but air and hate. And when I fired, I missed. Or maybe I didn't want to hit him. Maybe that's where it started. The slow betrayal of everything I was trained to be. After the mission, the debrief room smelled like coffee and fear. Men joked too loud, laughed too hard, just to drown the echo of the engines still roaring in their skulls. Our captain said, "Gunners, you fire too early and you waste ammo. You fire too late and you waste lives." But no one said what happens when you fire and hit a boy who never saw it coming. That night, I cleaned my gun until my hands bled. The cloth turned black, then red. I told myself it was just the oil. The next morning, I heard a story. Another crew, the Henderson boys, went down near Dresden. Half the crew captured, half burned in the wreck. The ones who lived said the Germans shot at their parachutes as they fell. We swore if we ever saw that, we'd return the favor. That's how fear grows in a man's gut. It feeds on stories you don't see, on hate you inherit secondhand. You stop asking what's true, you just load the gun and hope it hurts less next time. But that day, something changed. We called it the run home. The moment after bombs dropped, when you turned your nose west and prayed the sky didn't bite back. That's when I started noticing things. A German fighter would line up on us. You'd brace for it. And then, suddenly, he'd peel away. No bullets. No attack. Just gone. Like he'd change his mind at the last second. At first, I thought it was luck. Then it happened again. And again. One day, I caught a glimpse of something through the gun sight. A Messerschmitt diving past, smoke trailing from his engine. His canopy burst open, and I saw him leap, his parachute blooming against the gray like a flower that didn't belong there. My finger tightened on the trigger. It would have been easy. A squeeze, and he'd never hit the ground alive. But I didn't. None of US did. Our pilot, Captain Reese, said over the intercom, "Hold your fire. He's done." That was all. It was the smallest mercy, but in a sky built on hate, it felt like rebellion. Back at base, they told us never to waste ammunition. They said compassion was weakness, that mercy could cost American lives. But in the barracks, when the lights went low and the cigarettes burned down to our fingers, we started asking questions we weren't supposed to. What if the men shooting at us were doing the same? What if they aimed past us too? A week later, we had to drop altitude, right into the guns of a German squadron below. They came at us hard. Tracer fire ripped through the belly of the plane. I saw the navigator slump forward, blood blooming on his jacket. For 30 seconds, it was pure hell. And then, silence. The fighters broke away. All of them. Through the glass, I saw something I'll never forget. One German pilot, tipping his wings before he turned home. A salute. We limped back across the channel, fuel leaking, one engine dead, and for the first time I couldn't tell who the enemy really was. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the German's hand on the stick, steady, sure, the way he could have finished us but didn't. So I wrote in my logbook, he spared us. Maybe next time, I spare them. The next mission, I did exactly that. A crippled Messerschmitt came spinning past us, leaking fuel. The tail gunner yelled, "Finish him!" But I couldn't. My hands refused. Past him, I whispered, and I fired just past. Enough for him to know I could have. Enough to let him live. The crew thought I'd missed. Only the captains saw the truth. They say the sky belongs to no one. But up there, it felt like it remembered everything we did. Every bullet, every scream, every second you hesitated before pulling the trigger. I stopped sleeping. Every night, the same dream. A German pilot's face behind glass, eyes wide, then a flash of light, and he was gone. Only, sometimes in the dream, it was me falling instead. And he was the one who let me go. Weeks turned to months. The missions blurred, clouds, smoke, the same dull taste of metal in the air. But something strange started happening. Word spread among crews that some German fighters weren't attacking crippled bombers anymore. They were escorting them out of German airspace, keeping flak crews from finishing them off. They called it the gentleman's code. No one knew if it was real, but we wanted to believe it was. One day, I found out it wasn't just rumor. We were hit over Hanover. Our right wing torn open like paper. Hydraulics gone. We were falling fast. Bail out. Reese shouted. I hesitated. The hatch jammed, the world spinning outside. Then suddenly, a shadow appeared beside us. A German BF, 109, flying so close I could see the oil streaks on his nose. I braced for the shot, but he didn't fire. Instead, he pointed a single gloved finger toward the west and mouthed something I couldn't hear over the engines. Go. He stayed with us, through flak, through chaos, until we reached open sky. Then he pulled up, dipped his wings, and disappeared in a cloud. That night, I sat in a hospital tent staring at my bandaged hands, and I realized something that terrified me. I didn't want to win anymore. I just wanted to understand. Days later, our crew received new orders, a low-altitude, strafing run over a retreating German convoy. Targets of opportunity, they called it. Men, trucks, wagons, whatever moved. I looked through the gun sight and saw them scatter below. Not soldiers, just people running through snow. And behind one overturned truck, a boy. He couldn't have been more than 12. He was clutching something, a red scarf, maybe a flag, waving it like it could stop us. For a heartbeat, I thought of my little brother back home. Same size, same look of disbelief that the world could be this cruel. Target's clear, the radio said, but I am past them. Again, this time, I didn't feel brave. I felt broken. When we returned, the captain called me aside. Your gun camera shows you didn't hit a damn thing. He studied me quietly. Then, softer, did you choose that? I nodded. And to my surprise, he didn't yell. He just sighed and said, I used to do the same. You're not alone. That was the first time any of us admitted it out loud, that some of us weren't fighting the enemy anymore. We were fighting the war itself. Later, I found a letter tucked under my bunk. No name, no sender. Just a folded piece of paper with grease stains and 3 lines. Mercy makes men human. Hate makes them ghosts. Decide who you want to be when this ends. I never found out who wrote it, but I carried it with me in my flight jacket until the day I stopped flying. By late 45, the sky went. The war ended the way it always does, not with glory, but with quiet. The paper said victory, but when I looked around, all I saw were empty bunks and folded uniforms. Names turned into numbers. Towns turned into ruins. And boys like me turned into men who couldn't sleep through silence anymore. They sent us south, Texas of all places, to help guard a camp full of German prisoners. Funny thing, isn't it? A year ago, I was trying to kill them from the sky. Now, I was pouring them coffee on American soil. The first time I saw them up close, I expected monsters. But they looked like us, tired, sunburned, hollow-eyed men just trying to exist. One of them, barely 20, stared at my uniform and said, in broken English, "You were airmen?" I nodded. He smiled, a sad, knowing smile. Then he said something that stopped me cold. "Maybe I saw you." I asked him what he meant. He pointed up to the sky. "Messerschmitt. February, Hanover. You let me go." The world around me went still. The dust, the heat, the camp gone. Just me and him, staring across an invisible line that had vanished the moment he said it. He held out his hand. I shook it, and in that moment, every bullet I'd ever fired felt heavier than the plane that carried me. Days passed. We spoke sometimes, not about the war, but about life. He told me he'd joined the Luftwaffe at 17. Didn't want to fight. Wanted to fly. Said his mother used to wave at planes from their garden, no matter whose flag they carried. Sky is not country, he said. It is just sky. That line never left me. One evening, the sun dipped low over the Texas plains. The prisoners were finishing work in the fields, building fences, hauling lumber. One of them found a bird tangled in wire, a hawk, wings bloodied. They gathered around it, gentle hands untying knots, whispering in a language that once terrified me. Then they let it go. I watched it rise into the amber light, its wings trembling, and I thought, maybe mercy was never weakness. Maybe it was the only thing that made us worth saving. That night, I opened my old flight log for the first time in months. Pages filled with coordinates, kill counts, targets. Cold math for warm blood. But on the last page, under a smudge of oil and sweat, I found what I'd written months ago. He spared us. Maybe next time, I spare them. And beneath it, I added one final line. Mercy flies farther than bullets. Years later, when I told my grandson the story, he asked, Grandpa, weren't you afraid the enemy would shoot you down? I smiled. Of course, I said. But sometimes, the enemy was the only one who saw me as human. He didn't understand. Maybe he will someday. I still dream about the sky. Not the noise, not the fire, but that one moment when two planes passed and neither pulled the trigger. That silence was the loudest sound I ever heard. War took everything from us. Our youth, our sleep, our certainty. But in the space between two gun sights, we found something no side could claim. A fragment of our humanity, flickering against the wind. I used to aim past the enemy. Now I understand why. Because sometimes the only way to win is to miss on purpose.